UFC is a hard competition, and you've got to stay a certain weight at all times in order to fight in certain weight levels. Paddy Pimblett, having lost a lot of weight recently for this reason, is all the happier to share the secret ingredient to losing your weight as quickly as possible. In this video, we'll be taking a look at Paddy Pimblett's process for losing 50 pounds ahead of UFC 282, so stay tuned. First up, Paddy Pimblett reveals secret for fast weight loss. Paddy Pimblett has a tendency to gain a ton of weight in between fights, often weighing around 200 pounds. The dramatic weight shifts have raised many eyebrows, but the Baddy always has the plan to cut down on fat before his fights. Paddy's next upcoming fight is on December 10th at UFC 282, where he will face off against Jared Gordon at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Ahead of that booking, the 27-year-old decided to reveal his secret about managing his weight on his YouTube channel. Paddy says that there's no rocket science to it, and it's not as difficult as you would think. He said that you have to get yourself a calorie deficit, asking why we think he gets so fat because he's got to go from eating 1,500 to 2,000 calories per day to eating 8,000 calories a day. He said that the weight piles on, and that's why it comes off so easily. Paddy gave credit to his friend Joel McCarthy, also known as the Macro Chef, for keeping him well fed and properly fueled before a fight. In the video that he posted on his channel, McCarthy showed off some of Paddy's favorite training camp meals and said that Paddy consumes somewhere in the middle of 1,400 and 1,700 calories each day. Up next, Paddy's routine has served him well during his bouts. This routine has served Paddy well, as he's won the first 3 fights of his UFC career by the finish. Recently, Paddy's second-round submission of Jordan Levitt back in July was preceded by a difficult weight cut, and many people were doubtful about Paddy making it in time. Nonetheless, he successfully made weight and blew back at his critics, even though he had much less time than usual to prepare. Paddy said that the last camp was one of the worst camps of his life, and the day he got back from the United States, he had only 7 weeks to make weight. He also added that the date was just announced by the UFC, and he thought that he'd have to fight in it, wouldn't he? Since it's in the O2. He said that he only had 7 weeks in which he needed to lose 20 kilos, that's approximately 44 pounds, and he did it. Talking about his current self, he said that where he's at now, he needs to lose 9 kilos, or approximately 20 pounds, and he's done more than that overnight. He continued that he's done 8.4 kilos overnight before, and he could do 9 kilos in 4 weeks. Following up, Dana White talked about Paddy's frequent weight fluctuations. Paddy's vlog ended with him making comments about his close friend Molly McCann's defeat against Erin Blanchfield in the UFC 281. It seems he is extra motivated to put on a show against Gordon thanks to that setback. Paddy promised to finish Jared Gordon in the first round, telling his fans to watch. A few months ago, Dana White, president of UFC, weighed in on Paddy's constant weight fluctuations. He said that it makes it very tough for them as well, because when they're in the matchmaking room, they want to throw together a fight. But due to his weight fluctuations, they have to decide if they can throw him on a card in a month or so, which hurts the championship too. White revealed that they have to be very specific when they plan fights for him because he's nowhere near close to the weight, and they don't want to put pressure on him to lose a lot of weight in a short amount of time. Finally, the career of Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett made his debut back in 2012 at the age of 17, and he racked up a 3-0 record before signing with Cage Warriors about a year later. He claimed the Cage Warriors Featherweight Championship in 2016, beating Johnny Frazee at the Echo Arena in Liverpool, and defended it once against Julian Erosa, winning against him in an extremely controversial unanimous decision. In the UFC, Paddy made his promotional debut against Luigi Vendramini on the 4th of September 2021 at UFC Fight Night 191. He won the match in the first round via a knockout. That round also earned him the Performance of the Night bonus. In October 2021, Paddy signed an endorsement deal with Barstool Sports that was worth over $1 million. His next fight was against Rodrigo Vargas at UFC Fight Night 204. He won the fight in the first round via submission, and this fight earned him his 2nd consecutive Performance of the Night reward. Paddy later revealed that he was paid $12,000 to show for the bout and $12,000 for his victory. After this, he fought Jordan Levitt at the UFC Fight Night. Blades vs. Aspinall Masvidal on the 23rd of July 2022, and he won the fight in the second round via a rear naked choke. This bout got him the Performance of the Night reward for the third time. Paddy has also won the Cage Warriors Fighting Championships Featherweight Championship with one successful title defense, and he won the Full Contact Contender Featherweight Championship as well with one successful title defense. Now moving on to Paddy Pimblett being a socialist. First off, Paddy Pimblett is a socialist and a vocal critic of the Conservative Party. Paddy Pimblett calls himself a socialist and has been a vocal opponent of the Conservative Party. He has lamented about former Scottish football player Kenny Dalglish accepting a knighthood. In his interview with The Guardian, Paddy said that he hates the establishment, the royal family, and the Tories. During the UFC Fight Night 208 pre-fight interview, the fighter took aim at the current Prime Minister of Britain, Rishi Sunak, for his huge fortune while the British people are dealing with rising prices for gas and electricity and food shortages. He said that it was absolutely disgusting how much the prices had gone up and called Sunak ridiculous for saying that he wanted to sort the country out. Paddy pointed out that Sunak used to be the one in charge of all those affairs back when he was a chancellor, but he failed to deliver. So the fighter called for a general election so that the Conservatives could get voted out. Up next, Paddy said that the situation has become heat or eat for some people. Talking about people eating out of food banks, he said that nowadays the number of people eating out of food banks is increasing, and it really is becoming heat or eat for some families, leaving them to choose between having their meals or heating their house. Paddy called the situation absolutely despicable, particularly with regards to someone such as Sunak, who he said was a multi-millionaire and had a bird that's a billionaire. Paddy cussed him out for talking about sorting the economy. During an interview with The Guardian, while expressing anger on behalf of Liverpool, he said that what the government had done to their city for years was disgusting and said that today, Knowsley, the borough in which Huyton is located, is the worst funded area in the entirety of the UK. Paddy said that people often think that he's talking about 40 years ago, but even today, there are tons of children in Liverpool who are eating out of food banks. And according to him, the simple reason for this neglect was that they weren't a quote-unquote Tory area. Lastly, Paddy has publicly stated his disdain for Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. For large parts of the day, Paddy is on his mobile phone answering requests for support, and he says that his desire is to help people drive him into the UFC cage. Paddy is certain that he'll surpass Conor McGregor one day, saying that eventually he will be a billionaire. And when that happens, he'll make sure that there are no more kids eating out of food banks in this city. Paddy supports the Liverpool-wide boycott of the Sun newspaper, and he himself has a bitter dispute with Instagram, which shut down his account that had almost 1 million followers. The fighter uses his social media accounts to raise funds for a boy called Lee Hodgson, who's receiving experimental treatment for terminal cancer. When a troll posted something despicable about Lee, Paddy contacted Instagram but was told that it didn't violate any guidelines. After this incident, the UFC star called Instagram dog and lizards, which resulted in his account being closed, cutting off an important public access route and costing him money. Paddy also described his contempt for the CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, and called him out after his victory over Rodrigo Vargas at the UFC Fight Night 204. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Paddy Pimblett's weight loss? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.